All right, what is going on and how are y'all doing today? It is January the 6th, Thursday, first week of 2022, going by briskly as we talk about, you're a Falcon fan and just waking up this afternoon. You have seen all kinds of stuff everywhere talking about who's going to do what and when and how and all that other good stuff. Nothing has been confirmed. Nothing has been set in stone, but I'm definitely one of those people that say where there's smoke, there's fire. So there's something that tells me that we got some fire, some fire getting ready to brew here in a little bit. And what's going on, Demetro? What's going on, Cam? Brother Marcus, how you doing, fam? Just wanted to touch briefly on a couple of things. I say briefly, but probably for a little bit and talk about it. Unless you're just crawling out from under a rock, you see a lot of the rumors going around about Calvin Ridley. Fresh start, looking to trade, things of that nature. And what I'm going to do, I pulled my B Live up today because I did want to show some of the posts that you guys have out. I love doing post reviews with you guys just so I can kind of put things up. This is one of the things I saw today. Somebody helped tweet out, said Calvin Ridley over the last couple of days has now become a trade target in all season as people close to the wide receivers had told NBC Sports he would like to continue his career elsewhere in 2022. I mean, to some of this stuff, I'm saying no crap. And let me go back a second before we start talking about. There's a lot of folks on here that I told y'all Calvin Ridley wasn't any mental health or whatever. I still stand by it. I just live my life this way. And y'all can live in the TMZ world and believe every single thing you hear. But until somebody says something officially, I don't know what's going on with that man. Who knows? Maybe he did have something mental and changed his mind. Maybe he realized after a while, you know what the mental health block was? I was playing for this team. I don't know. And the majority of you don't either. So I know it's easy to pounce on the aha and told you path. But I think for this particular situation, I think I mean, look, he might have looked around him. And remember where this all started. It started with a criticism post-game Arthur Smith had with Calvin Ridley. If you guys go back, if you want to go back further, that's fine. But if you want to go back, remember the press conference that Arthur Smith called him out. And I believe it was the Washington game. And the Washington game, Calvin Ridley dropped a lot of passes that day, if you guys remember that. And Arthur Smith didn't mince words when he said he's got to play better. He's got to step up to the plate. And then that's where all the other stuff came in and Calvin sat down and whatever. I'm still, look, y'all say what y'all want to. Y'all can post what y'all want to about the man. And fair game, fine. That's cool. I'm going to play it close to the vest and say, yeah, he got some issues. And the bigger picture is kind of seems like he doesn't want to be here. And if you don't want to be here, so be it. We'll get somebody in here that wants to be here. That's what I want. And in my Falcon player. Tobias, what's going on, man? Saying Matt gets a day off. Get on Ridley. Yeah, look, if you're in the camp of Calvin Ridley, it doesn't look good. And I'm not talking about the organization. Whatever grief you have, whatever grievance you have with the organization, so be it. We're going to talk a little bit about AB, which is somewhat slightly related, but I'll get into that in a little bit. If you have a grievance with the organization, say that. Tell us that. Because if you use something that's convenient, and if it comes out that you're using something convenient to leverage your way out of the city, that's you going to take the hit. And boy, I mean, this city that's already dysfunctional over its sports teams about the losing tradition, sans the Braves this past year, yeah, people are not going to have a lot of sympathy for that. Folks aren't going to be, oh, Calvin, if they find out that it was truly more. Again, I'm speaking in the alleged thing because I don't know. And if the man doesn't come out and say it, I'm not going to sit here and try to act like I know how he's feeling inside. But Lord, please don't let it come out that this was all a ploy. Remember, all they were talking about before this season was were they going to try to work an extension for Calvin. Most of the players, when they go into their 5th year, most of them don't even, they have a new contract before they get to the option year. Well, they didn't have one this year. They didn't renegotiate a new contract with Calvin. Probably because they need to figure out what they're doing, with the rest of the team. We got other problems. And he should have realized that. So, I don't know. Corey says, what? He can't take constructive criticism. Who can't take constructive criticism? Are the sightings about seeing Ridley at other games true? I haven't looked into it. No. Don't take it like that, Corey. No, he's opening himself up to constructive criticism. If there is some substantiated evidence behind that this was a ploy to get yourself moved from Atlanta, this is not going to bear well for Calvin Ridley's persona. Now, the other team who would take advantage of that, they could turn around and say, well, he was having the issues. He needed a fresh start to get away. That's the thing I saw on the post today. He needed a fresh start to go out and start anew. That's legit to a certain extent. But at the same time, to a fan base that just lost their best overall wide receiver and arguably one of the top 5 most popular Falcons of all time, when we just lost him this past offseason, and now we're coming into a situation where you had an opportunity to get the mantle. You had an opportunity to carry the torch, and you didn't. And look, I'm sorry. It's fair game now. I want to be wrong. I really do. I want to be wrong and say, please don't let this be about Calvin trying to leverage his way out of Atlanta. Please don't. But if it is, whoo, it is something else. Hey, Lisa, what's going on? Lisa's listening to us on YouTube on Uncle Steve's Lounge. Say, hey, Steve, I see we're in another episode of The Young and the Falcons. Oh, my goodness. That's what it is, Lisa. That's what it is. So now you're going to get this bombardment of all of these rumors of how much, and I'm looking forward to it because I want to see what a lot of folks think, and I want to hear what a lot of you think about. Um, is this um, is this the norm? Instead of going to the I'm going to sit out because I'm not satisfied, are we going to use the, well, mentally I'm exhausted, mentally I need to take a break, and that's a way to leverage your way out of a contract or out of a city? I hope that's not what we're talking about. Again, making it clear, I'm not telling you that's what he said, but it sure seems like I, it sure seems like that could be the case. Brandon, what's going on, brother? I know you've been on all day talking about this. I appreciate the post you've been having on. Say Ridley posted on his Snapchat his stats today. Also says Bama receivers seem to lack class. You know, yeah, I don't want to single out Alabama receivers totally because, truth be told, some of them around, I'd take them in a heartbeat. I'd take Jerry Judy. I'd take either of the ones, the rookies coming out now, Waddle or Heisman Trophy winner that just came out. I think, I don't know. And is it fair? Is it fair to say, without starting a whole dialogue on it, is it fair to say that the atmosphere around Matt Ryan is starting to get, I don't know, toxic? The players, when you see your star players wanted out, and you think about the Aaron Rodgers and the Patrick Mahomes and the Russell Wilsons, one thing you don't see most of the time from the star players, you don't see the star players trying to leave good quarterbacks. You really don't, aside of AB, who we'll talk about shortly. Normally, if you have a quarterback that has the potential to be next level, you normally don't see the skill players trying to get out of there. We still don't know the whole story behind Julio. And now we're adding another layer of this with Calvin Ridley. So in a less than a 12-month span, you've lost your two most productive receivers over the last few years. Is it fair? It's a fair statement. And again, for those who hold the Matt Ryan pom-poms, look, I got a Matt Ryan jersey on today because it's Falcons. But it's fair to say that, to think that. It could be. What other reason would you know that you would leave some? And think about it. Just like the Titanic, they have a couple of lifeboats out there. Julio didn't want to stay with the band and play as the ship going down. They tried to jump in them lifeboats. Calvin may have seen it the same way. I just hope and pray that the use of mental health wasn't a horrible, horrible way to go about it. Because if it is, I'm going to question his. I'm going to question his character a little bit. I am. I'm sorry. If that's the case, again, nothing is known for sure. Nothing is known for sure. Tobias says him posting his stats is him promoting himself to get a contract elsewhere. Why else would he go out of his way to post his stats? Tobias, I'm not disagreeing with you. And again, think about what I'm telling you. I'm telling you, this is not going to look well for him PR-wise. For the next team that gets him, it's great because he was able to wiggle his way out of a contract and go somewhere else. And look, they're gonna pay top dollar and trade wise to get him. Calvin Ridley should absolutely garner a #1 draft pick, without a doubt. You had a second team all pro wide receiver, not a second team Pro Bowl, a second team all pro receiver. You should absolutely be able to get something substantial for him. Maybe even 2 picks. Maybe not 2 #1s, maybe 1 and something else. But I hope so. I hope he can. But just be honest with us, Calvin. Because you do have a lot of fans that are sitting out here that truly are worried about you professionally, saying, dude, are you in a corner depressed? Are you sitting in a room with padded walls in a straitjacket? Fans are literally thinking that. And you gave us that. You fed us that. We didn't ask you to tell us. You fed us that. So then you're going to, like Tobias says, now you all of a sudden into self-promotion? And you want somebody to feel sorry for you? BS. I call BS. Let me get back to see who this was. I'm sorry, I got my little thing in it. Brandon says, is the energy around Ryan toxic? Why has other skill player left like that? You just had one. You just had the best wide receiver in the history of the franchise leave you. And when I say toxic, maybe toxic is the wrong word. What I mean is maybe it's a deteriorating circumstances, if that vocabulary sounds better. In other words, you're in a situation now that you see things sinking and you're ready to jump off. That could be it. But just don't lie. Just don't lie. Don't just lie. Just say I want to leave. Say I want to leave. I hope and pray it wasn't anything personal that was going on with him, because that's the part that I don't know. Because he could come back and say there was something that happened in his life that made him rethink stuff, and then when he was ready to come back, he changed his mind. Remember, he did come back one week. He did try to come back one week. Caught a touchdown too, if I'm not mistaken. You know. So I don't know. Let me get out of here. Let's see. I can't see some of the names, and I apologize for the Be Live, because I know sometimes they don't show the names. But do me a favor on some of these, y'all, because it's Be Live, and I'm trying to go back and forth to get the names. I want to make sure some of y'all I can see, some of y'all I can't. So if you do say, hey, this is so and so, real quick. So I like acknowledging folks that talk to me, so I can make sure I shout you out. What up, brother? I hate to get into the what if Ridley would have played because our season was over, but no, you're right. Ridley playing makes this team better. Don't let that fool anybody. Ridley playing makes Kyle Pitts better. Ridley playing makes Russell Gage better. Ridley playing makes Matt Ryan better. Ridley became the guy that people keyed on. Ridley is a talent. There's no denying that. Gregory, my friend, what's going on? Gregory said, can't force anyone to be here if they don't want to be here. Same as Julio. He was loved here and wanted out. The Julio and Ridley situation makes you that much more comfortable with the Pitts pick. I was up with you up until the Pitts pick, and Gregory, you know I got nothing but love for you, brother. I still to this day I'm going to stand on the side that you get your franchise quarterback. But I understand where you're coming from now that this situation is like it is. Yeah, the receivers leaving like this is just crazy. Just crazy that it would be one after the other. I say 12 months. I don't think it was a span of, was it 9? I don't even think it was 9 months. But absolutely ridiculous that they're doing that. Matt's contract is the only reason why he's still here. Oh, without a doubt. Of course it is. Remember, when all of this came about, the only way we were able to get underneath the salary cap, remember at the first day of business for the NFL, every single NFL team has to be under the salary cap, whether it's $500,000 under or $50 million under. They have to be under the salary cap. The only way the Falcons were able to do that was to restructure Matt's contract. Please don't make it seem like there's this very misinformed thought that Terry Fontenot and Arthur Smith were just so enamored with number 2 that they decided that, you know what, we're just going to extend this out and keep him longer because he's the best option ever. No. That's probably why you hear the rumors about him not being Fontenot's first pick, and Arthur Smith was saying, hey, let's get picks. I understand where Arthur was coming from to get some skilled players, but Terry Fontenot was probably on the right path. We know we were going to struggle this year. So if you're going to struggle, let's at least have the new guy in here to take his bumps, take his bruises, and see what goes on. I saw somebody foolishly, when I'm talking about the quarterback situation, I saw somebody foolishly try to justify Justin Herbert and Joe Burrow over Justin Fields. See how young quarterbacks can do? Justin Fields didn't do as good as them. And I'm going to go back and get the post. I'm talking about it. There was a post where they were comparing both of those guys in their second year to Justin in his first year. Justin Herbert wasn't all world last year. He was good. He was pretty good. Joe Burrow went all world last year. Before he got injured, he was good. But that's the baptism you have to take that first year. That rookie year, you got to take that. So I disagree to a certain extent. But yes, Matt's contract is the only reason he's here. A professional player, that's Brandon. I can see that. Say a professional plays regardless of record. That's my mantra. I think that's how you got to go. Anthony said, I think it's deeper than someone is going on that we don't know, that something is going on that we don't know. I'm pretty sure that Matt may be some of the reason why all of this has transpired, but now I'm looking at Rich McKay and Arthur Blank big time. Well, you have to. No one is exempt from blame on this situation. I know it's a lot of formal people who aren't here that are to blame too. I go back to Dan Quinn too. Dan Quinn's style of coddling these guys, of letting these guys kind of do what they do. Julio out of practice Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, walk through on Saturday, and he plays. You know, Julio deciding when he comes in the game and when he goes out. That type of atmosphere that you have, that players coach atmosphere, it works great when you're winning. Oh, 2016 and 17, it was brilliant. And everybody acknowledged it was brilliant. But boy, when things start rolling downhill, all of a sudden you look like you're a fish out of water. You look like, why did you hire this guy? We question whether we should have kept Kyle Shanahan instead of Dan Quinn. So yes, you got to put it at the feet of Rich McKay and Arthur Blank. And I'll even go a step further. I know everybody wants to point a finger at Rich McKay to a certain extent. Remember, Rich McKay was not part of the football operations back again until 2 years ago. He was dealing with the stadium / Atlanta United. So I don't want to absolve him completely, but if it's anybody that you're not going to put on that list as heavily, it would be him. I'm not trying to say he didn't step in a room and give his opinion. He's a Super Bowl winning GM. So it's not like he doesn't know what he's talking about. But I would give him a little bit of a pass, not a lot, a little bit of a pass before I would give some of those other guys. Brandon also says, let's be real. A team isn't going to give Ridley a high contract. He didn't play last year and kept himself out due to his own issues. He's very risky. Want to bet? There is a guy that just was released yet today that videotaped his team during a confidential meeting with his coach in the locker room, went to went to the best situation for him, to a team that paid him in the Raiders. After that, went to New England, dogged out Robert Kraft, and I'm not trying to hold Robert Kraft in high esteem, I'm just saying, but dogged out the man who was paying him on his way out. And now you go to Tampa Bay, to somebody who pulled you in because no other team wanted to mess with you and touch you. And I just got cut from that team. You know why? Because you got talent. Brandon, is about more than that, brother. It's about talent, bro. These folks will pay for talent. Bottom line, it's cutthroat. They are not going to pay. They're not going to go out on a limb for practice players. Who was the guy that we signed during the summer and they found out they accused him of, what was the linebacker? Bingo, whatever his name was, from Chicago. And then turned out that the charges were dismissed, or they didn't have enough evidence or whatever. But his talent level wasn't to the point where they wanted to keep him. But then you look at people like Aldon Smith, who they've given time and time and time again, more chances than not, because they have talent. Ridley has talent. Somebody will pay. Somebody will pay, because people are about winning. Tampa Bay was about winning. That's why they're reaping what they sow. Somebody will pay Ridley. Because bottom line is, too, with this Ridley situation, off the field, Ridley hasn't been an issue. That's going to be a bigger part of it. I know you're saying risk. Yes, you risk him maybe doing the same thing on a new team, but I'd rather risk that than some of the off-the-field stuff with Antonio Brown. I'm going to really get on that once we get through a couple of these comments, because the Antonio Brown thing is really bothering me for a couple of reasons. Brother Keith, how you doing? Say, I think it's stemming from the coaching turnover. We've been losing offensive coordinators and defensive coordinators, head coach. Yeah, but you gotta listen. In those situations, I understand that anything can happen. Football is probably one of those sports, because the only thing guaranteed in football are the bonuses. So your situation can change from 1 week to the next. But you signed up for that. You signed up for that. You were the same person smiling, doing the PR thing when you were signing the contract, and I'm sure you cashed the bonus check. And some of that sometimes that's risky. And I know that's easy for me to say. I've never received a $5 million check or a $10 million signing bonus, and I get that. It's a lot of responsibilities come with that, and a lot of pressure that comes with that. But you can't just give up as soon as things change around you. Larry Fitzgerald stayed through a lot of stuff in Arizona. Russell Wilson has stayed through several offensive coordinators there. Pittsburgh, Big Ben stayed there through changes in folks there. You see Aaron Rodgers, he's very vocal now, but he's stuck through some changes in Green Bay. So it can happen. I'm not gonna let this one situation be a sole reason. It's not like we heard anything about these coaches from Atlanta like they were slave drivers and they were making them do things against their will and all that. If anything, a lot of the thing on coaches here in Atlanta is they're too soft. So I'm not buying. Not buying at all. Not buying. People are claiming Matt's the problem. It might be empty up at Wait a minute. People are claiming Matt is the problem. It might be looking up at empty seats on your own home field. Well, Matt's part of that problem. He's part of it. You're the quarterback of an NFL team. You're not a stopgap quarterback for the end of the team. You're a franchise quarterback that's been here 14 years. I'm sick and tired of folks making excuses for him. We got to stop that. If he's taking up 30% of our payroll, I'm sorry, folks. That ship has to sail in 2022. You got to stop. I'm not saying he's solely 100% the reason for one losing, but the empty seats were there before this year, before last year, before the year before that. We haven't had a loaded stadium regularly since 2018, and people didn't know 2018 was going to be a blip. They thought it was going to be a blip and we'd be back on the playoff track, and it turns out we haven't. So that's crazy. I'm so sorry. I am doing that here. Andronetta, how you doing, ma'am? Says Ryan is not a next level quarterback. Matt is staying, and maybe that's a reason for receivers to look for a way out. Each player has to. So what's best for them? I also agree that the truth should be given to the fans. Sorry, ran out here. The truth should be given to the fans and the teams. My thought. I mean, that's a very good statement. Listen, we are stakeholders in this team, and I believe this wholeheartedly. Not just stakeholders because I pay tickets and I'm a PSL owner and all of that, but I emotionally invest in this team, and there's a lot of you out there that emotionally invest in this team. So therefore, that makes us stockholders in the brand of the Atlanta Falcons. Whether it's Matt, whether it's Calvin, whether it's Mike Davis, whether it's AJ Terrell, whether it's Grady Jarrett, whether it's any of those folks out there, we are invested in this team emotionally. And so when things go on that are being kind of brushed under the rug, and then all of a sudden it's popped out of the surprise, Calvin wanted out all along. Surprise, Julio wanted out all along. I think to a certain extent, we're owed at least an explanation. At least. You don't have to give it to us, but it sure would go a long way for those of us that are intending to stay for the next year, and those of us who have to make a decision on whether to invest in another year of this hypocrisy. So that's a very good statement. Brother Christian, what's going on? Say, what you call him BS on everything, Christian? Call him BS on everything. Oh man, I think he felt like this is Brandon. I think he felt like this all the time. Look at his play earlier in the season. He made a lot of business decisions with the football, and definitely we can look at that now and probably make that call. I think it's just so hard to say right now, man. And it really is. I don't want to seem like somebody who is just picking on him for the sake of picking on him. But yeah, dude, you were expected to go next level. This summer, when Julio left, you were expected to take us to a new era. And you didn't. And now it seems like, from all reports, you're gonna be out of here. Who is this? Tobias comes back and says he did come back, but he also got blasted in that game. Also, I remember making a comment saying he wasn't coming back after that game. You're probably right. He scored a touchdown that game. Wasn't that the Miami game? Didn't he score a touchdown in that game, if I'm not mistaken? I could be wrong. I think he did. Rusty, what's going on? Rusty says, I don't know. AB is definitely a little crazy, but I never liked Bruce Arians. He comes off as extremely arrogant and controlling. His vaccine stance last season, for example, Wouldn't surprise me if AB story holds some truth. Here's the thing about the AB thing, y'all. And wait a minute, let me get through a couple of these questions first because I really want to address that too. I see y'all coming on down here. What's going on, Marcario? How you doing? So I agree with you. If he played those cards to sit out, but I hope his emotional roller coaster makes us look really hard in the draft. And that's the thing, Brother Marcario. But we don't know what signs, and I'm not picking on you. I'm saying from anybody else. What signs did anybody have going into this season that Calvin Ridley was not either well or happy with the situation? I know there was talk because of his contract. Again, when guys are going into that 5th year option, the majority of the times they try to negotiate that before it goes into that so they can kind of, backload that contract and do the things that they do. At what time did it seem like there was any problem? You didn't hear anything about Calvin saying he wanted to sit out. You didn't see anything about Calvin being not happy with the offense. You didn't hear any of that. Matter of fact, if anything, you heard Calvin saying he was ready to step into the spot where Julio was and be the number one guy. So what changed? Again, I go back to after the Washington game, the press conference with Arthur Smith, and I probably have to pull that up just in case y'all remember. Arthur Smith went in on him for those drop passes. I was there. Many drop passes he had that game. Many opportunities. We should have won that game. He had one pass. Look, we can dog Matt all he wants to, but 1 out of every 8 passes, Matt puts it on the money. And he put one on the money in Calvin and went right through his hands. Now, I don't know whether mental things were going on. Again, trying to distance myself from criticizing anything off the field or whatever. But something mentally was going wrong that day because he wasn't catching passes like he normally does. He has the yips, but not like that. He says, well, BA already told a blatant lie about knowing about AB's ankle injury, so his credibility is shaky to this part. Yeah. Woo. I'm getting ready to get there. Brian says, I keep telling everybody it's Rich McKay. RJ says, Ridley backed out like a coward. Martavius, what's going on, brother? Said, Shy Boogie, what's going on, my friend? Says, McKay needs to go and let Terry Fontenot do his thing because I think he's very bright. I agree. Brian says, 4 losing seasons in a row. We still got Matt. It's going to be an issue. Brother Ricky, what's going on, Rick? How you feeling, brother? Orion said, let's keep it 1,000. I can't blame Ridley. I understand he is getting paid, but why would I want to play for a team and risk getting a career-ending injury for a team that can't even be 500 and make the playoffs or be a threat making the playoffs? The only problem I have with that, Orion, is you're a professional player, brother, and you getting paid. It's not like Ridley was getting paid chump change. You have to start there. When you're a rookie, Calvin Ridley was not a top 5 pick. He was like a middle-of-the-road first-round pick. And he was getting paid nicely. It's not like, listen, at some point, I get where the conditions on your job may have changed from the time we got you. And in Ridley's case, you really can't say that. When Ridley got here, we were losing. You happily took that. You happily accepted the draft pick when we got you. So come on, man. I hear you, but no, man. You play to win, and it's hard for me. And I'm not looking at it right now. Whatever Ridley is making, but I know it's more than $2 million. And if it was just $1 million. I can't have overwhelming sympathy for millionaires. I don't. Whether that be in sports, whether that be in politics, whether that be in business, I'm sorry, entertainers. When you come with woe is me stories and you're making more money than I've ever made in my lifetime in 6 months, the sympathy level is not going to be very high. And of course, yeah, we live vicariously through you. We want you to be successful because we want our franchise to be successful. But I'm not going to sit here and feel sorry for you. So, no, I don't feel bad. You play on a losing team, but you're being well compensated. You're being compensated to play better so you can make us a winning team. Ricky says Matt has to go, but what is the option with the cap space if we get rid of all? I think I talked to Toddy about this. We're gonna have to sit down and there's actually one person I might be able to bring on that knows a little bit. He's more college, but he absolutely knows the financial ramifications of the cap, and to come on with us into the off season so we can explain what's going to happen. Because I got a sneaky suspicion that the Ridley move probably is not going to be the only thing that we do. Lamar says the organization is but call a spade a spade. Ricky, everyone is calling for his head, which is rightfully so. And how do we get rid of him and not be on the hook for $40 million plus? And yes, we'll owe the explanation of what is going on with Ridley if you leave too. We can have 2 top 5 receivers. You can have 2 top 5 receivers that don't want to be here. If that's the case, why is Patterson making a case to stay if it's so bad? I got questions. Now, Patterson is playing a very smart game of, hey, I really want to be here. So if the Falcons don't, and it's smart, it's genius from him or his people. Of course you're going to sit here and say you want to be in Atlanta because you want Atlanta to pay you. Patterson ain't staying for $3 million. He ain't staying for $5 million. Of course you're going to promote yourself to stay here. But I don't know if we're going to have the money to do it. Lamar says, I figured Ridley wanted out when he popped up on Bama sidelines at the Benz for the SEC ship. Didn't pop up for the Falcons game yet. Yeah, that's true. Corey says, had a feeling Ridley wanted out too because it was too quiet on his end. There was no message for the fans saying, I miss y'all and I hope to be back. There was nothing. That's a legitimate, very legitimate thought process. Here's the thing. Here's the thing, y'all. The AB situation, real quick, and as it kind of goes with Calvin Ridley. And I'm saying I don't think the two situations are exactly the same. Ridley again allegedly seems like he wants out. And the AB situation, folks, we have too much history. And it bothers me. So this is Steve's opinion. So please don't take it any further than that. I mean, you can have your own opinion. It bothers me when I hear people defend Antonio Brown as if he hasn't brought a lot of this situation on himself. It bothers me when I feel this big surge of, oh, they doing them wrong. They doing them wrong. When 4 teams ago with Pittsburgh, when they wanted him to stay, he was wrong there. And the Raiders, they wanted him to stay before he started acting a fool and doing some off the field stuff. They wanted him to stay. New England, where you literally go out on your Twitter or Instagram or whatever it was and dog out the man who's signing your paychecks. Tom Brady, who helped him get there. And then he had to leave and sit down. And then all of a sudden, Tom Brady calls again. You got your stuff together yet? Antonio, we need a receiver. Okay, Tom. And you come back one more time, and all you had to do every time he comes back, start the timer. Start the timer because it's only going to be a matter of time before he does the same thing again. And this outcry of, well, he was injured. He dang sure didn't look injured when he was running out there on the field taking his clothes off. How injured can you be? And for all those smart behinds that want to talk about football injured is different from running, I know I'm not whatever, but I'm sorry. We accept wrong so much. Even if he was injured, even if he had a grievance with Tampa Bay. So we condone him throwing his stuff in the field, leaving his team out to dry. The morality crap in this country sometimes is just, ooh. Like politics, I'm looking today, the anniversary of the insurrection or whatever they tried to do up on the Capitol. I mean, people defend wrong. Folks literally tried to take over this country, and people defend that to this day. People go out and shoot people, and people defend it to this day. A man put his knee on a guy and killed him. People defend him to this day. So I go all the way back around, and I just say, this is just, I guess, a society thing where it's like, let's feel sorry for the overprivileged in this case. Antonio Brown ain't hurt. Antonio Brown, after the game, went into called a high-priced Uber guy that pretty much videotaped everything on video for him. He ain't hurting that bad. But y'all, you got some folks out here, yeah, because Bruce Arians, I'm like, oh, crap, stop it. Stop it. Antonio Brown is not a victim. Antonio Brown is not a sympathetic figure. Stop. Stop. I don't care how many paragraphs he wrote. I don't care. I don't care about that. Anybody that's foolish enough, and it's 1 out of 1,000 players that would go out there, take off their clothes, throw it in the stands, put their uniform down, strip out, throw his shirt up, jump up and down in the visitor's place and act a fool. But there's some people, oh, well, he's hurt. He hit Antonio Brown, but he's a great talent. And because he's a great talent, he want to do it. And any of y'all want to play this race card and say that's how they treat all black people. That's not true. Stop with that. I've seen that too. Please don't tell me. Especially if you ain't got enough hairs on your beard like I do, enough gray hairs to know how they really treated people 20 and 30 years ago. I'm sorry. I'm not going to feel sorry for people making $5 million a year and then all of a sudden they pull a tantrum and want you to feel sorry for them. Sorry. Not going to happen. Whether a professional player, whether it's somebody in entertainment, whether it's somebody in politics, I'm sorry. That's rich people's problems. And that's what Antonio has. He has rich people problems. Absolutely ridiculous. I made me work up a sweat, man. I feel my head sweat. But that Antonio Brown stuff bothers me, man. It bothers me. It does. PJ said, wait, would have been Ridley wants out. That's the word, man. That's the rumor, PJ. All right, who we got right here? Let me see. This is a long post. I want to make sure I acknowledge you when you come on here. Who is this? Carla Boone. Carla R. Boone. Regarding as to what money is being paid, mental health issues are real. These owners use every freaking excuse to justify their piss poor decisions, which jeopardizes a player's career. Uh-oh. Hold on. Sorry. Jeopardizes a player's career. Look out for yourself. Empathy for anyone, regardless of money, is essential, Stephen. The pressures associated with dealing with corporations is immense. You can't nor ever know what these athletes, millionaires deal with unless you are here. I work for a huge corporation, and when you are ready to do so, and when they ready to do you, no matter how valuable you think you are, how I think you okay, there we go. Now, no matter how much money you make, corporations make more. When they're done with you, it's over. Here's the problem, Carla. When you make that decision, Carla, and I can relate, and to your point, you're right. Money shouldn't have anything to do with it, with the amount of money that you make. It shouldn't have. If you have a quality, yeah, corporations are going to look to make more money on you. You're absolutely correct. But in this particular case, I apologize. I know Calvin Ridley is listen, as I've said, and you probably jumped in here a little late. No one here has accused Calvin Ridley of lying. Anybody who's been listening to me talk for the last 30 or 40 minutes, and I think it's 50 minutes, I have made it clear that I don't know what this man is going through. However, I do know that when I see smoke, when I see somebody posting stats, when I see somebody sitting on the sideline at college games and not kind of distancing themselves from an organization, whatever mental problems are going through, they might be real. But as far as this organization is concerned, you're deciding to separate from that. And who knows, maybe the mental problems have to do with being in an organization. But no one here has said that mental health issues aren't real. So maybe you came in the middle of the whole conversation, but that's not what I was saying. That wasn't my central thought. My central thought is about his situation specifically. I don't know what's going on with him. And I do, to a certain extent, disagree with you to say, yes, I understand that your worth might be more and you're not getting that to a big organization like the NFL. Hey, NFL says your worth is 5 million. I believe it's 10 million. I'm not telling you not to value yourself or to devalue yourself to fit in. But I'm also saying in this particular situation, it's got to be one of the two. Come out and tell us which one. You don't have to tell us anything as an athlete. But in this particular situation, you came out earlier this year and said you mentally were in a place where you couldn't perform. So when you play football, contrary to belief, the owners make money because the stockholders pay money to them for these expensive seats and expensive contracts that they're giving to these athletes. So to a certain extent, we are owed a little bit of an explanation. So I hear you waving the flag for mental health. That's great. Again, maybe you haven't seen some of my videos this summer talking about Simone Biles and talking about some of those other situations. I am very much firmly for people who say if they are mentally exhausted, if they feel like mentally they cannot handle it at this time, I support them taking a break wholeheartedly. But if I see somebody take a break and putting on a new uniform and a new contract in March this year, Carla, I apologize. It's going to have to be some type of retribution fan-wise. Something's going to have to be some type of adverse reaction to that. But I respect your point. Shy Boogie says, do we trade Deion Jones playing O's playing so well? Uh, Aluakon playing so well at linebacker. Well, it's going to be interesting. I know we have a lot of stuff that we're going to talk about going into this season. The Deion Jones situation. Shoot, Grady Jarrett. Love Grady. I like Deion. I'm a big fan of Deion, but I'm also a big fan of what have you done for me lately. Deion. It's clear that Deion's numbers are down. His effect on the game is down a little bit. Foyer's star is on the rise. And I was talking about this the other day in the live. The criticism for Deion is going to be increased because Deion just signed that contract a couple of years ago. The expectation level is higher. When Foyer is still on his rookie contract, trust me, when Foyer signs that contract, it's going to be the same thing. People are going to be sitting down with notes. One tackle, one missed tackle. They're not doing that with Foyer as much now because we're not paying him anything. The expectation level, Matt Ryan, expectation level, Julio, expectation level, Calvin, expectation level with an asterisk. Grady, expectation level. When you're making money like that, the fans, the organization expects more from you. So yeah, but I just think everything's on you. Aside of this is gonna sound silly, but I really think this. Aside of AJ Terrell and Kyle Pitts that are going to be contracted on this team, that are under contract because Foyer is about to be a free agent. Aside of those two, those might be the only two players untouchable on a contract this year. Foyer, not Foyer, AJ and Kyle Pitts. Those are the only players that I can probably say at this moment that you say, nah. Yeah, in my opinion. Derek says people came for Kyrie, but Nets allowed him to play. Nets folded. Bucks did him dirty, no matter his history. Yeah, look, Antonio Brown has done himself dirty over the last years, man. I'm sorry, Derek. I hear what you're saying. And look, agree to disagree, bro. Too many excuses for him. And you know what? You might be right. There might be some validity to maybe behind the scenes, they didn't handle it right. I'm not saying that. But how many times are we going to keep giving him chance after chance after chance after chance and keep making excuses for him? That's my only thing. If you want to hold a flag for Antonio Brown, be my guest. I'm not wasting time with it. Lamar says if AB does come back, it will be for a championship caliber team, not a last place organization. Yeah, I saw somebody talking about organization. Derek say, damn, you sound like AB lost you a fantasy football league. Yeah, right. You know what, Derek? For that reason that I know he's so combustible, that's one of the reasons I didn't sign him on the fantasy team. He would be great if I would have, no doubt. He would have, but no, I didn't. No, I didn't sign him on my fantasy team. Ricky said Brown was injured in his mind. He's still injured in the mind. He wants us to believe that mess, and some crazy folks in this fan base are wanting that mess here in Atlanta. Miss me with that. Man, dude, I don't want him nothing to do with him. Prince says, Prince T. Chaka says, you can look at a situation objectively and admit he done wrong, but yeah, he was wrong with the way he paraded off. Absolutely. He said, tell him, Steve. Brandon says Brown has zero credibility. And again, I'm not here to tell people how to feel about Antonio Brown. Everybody has their own opinion. I'm just sorry. And I also say that I feel like Antonio Brown's life changed. When his life changed when he took that hit from Burfict in that playoff game against Cincinnati. I think he's never been the same. I think people need to be careful of him with life after football. I think there are things there when you start talking about real life stuff, real life things where you say, please, please, y'all, whoever his friends and family are, please look out for him because he looked like he's going to be dangerous. He looked like he might be a problem. Rusty says, how crazy would it be if Green Bay caught Antonio and signed him and they played the Bucs in the NFC Championship game and he catches the game with a touchdown? Oh, it would be crazy. And again, back to Carla's point to a certain extent, the NFL, if it's a way that they can get talent, they're gonna get it. People are like, oh, Antonio Brown is untouchable. I've been around long enough to know if you have a talent that somebody can use and they know they're gonna get it on the cheap, Antonio Brown ain't gonna come in asking for $2 million from anybody. You get Antonio Brown for the playoffs probably for $500,000. And what was the other story that he was, might have been upset about some escalators in his contract? Nah. Rusty, what about Lindstrom? Oh, you're talking about Lindstrom is good. I just still don't put him on the level of importance right now as opposed to Terrell and Terrell and Pitts as far as people under contract. But that's actually a good third person if you want to add to that list. Stovall says any team close to winning the Super Bowl will sign AB. Prince says at this point, Burfict owe people money. Hey, listen, that if you go back and look at that, hit, y'all. He really teed off on that cat. He really did. And I'm at the belief that I'll go back to just something personal. I was hit in my head very hard one time. And I still was having effects from that like 2 years later. Same thing. Didn't go away until then. It was an inadvertent hit. It wasn't a purpose hit. It was an inadvertent hit. So I can only imagine in a non-contact way getting hit like that in your head, that you going out there every day getting hit. That is, you're really taking on some challenges, y'all. Ricky says the way he was jumping up and down, threw off his helmet, threw his stuff in the stands, and ran out the field is a clear-cut show that nothing was wrong with his ankle. If that was the case, then why did they go for Le'Veon Bell? This man got a ring from Tampa, and Tom Brady is still fighting for him and his well-being. If it was a Tampa thing, then Brady would be silent. And I'm trying to tell y'all, Rick, they gonna make excuses, man. There was nothing wrong with Antonio Brown. And I tell you what I do believe. I believe somewhere in the muddling of things, there could be some validity to whether he was telling people he was hurt, whatever. But here's the problem. How many times do we go out there and see football play? I see folks limping out there trying to make plays, wide receivers, and doing what they do. There was something underlying before that whole interaction between him and Coach Arians went on. How many times y'all see wide receivers limping along trying to win the game? There was something behind the scenes on that. And I'm not trying to make Arians this angel and stuff. Look, you took a chance when you took him. You knew what he was all about. And you knew that last year because last year you claimed you weren't going to bring him on your team. So from Arian's standpoint, you absolutely knew there was something wrong with him. But you took him anyway because you're trying to win. You took him anyway. So I'm sorry, y'all. I can't. I can't. I thought AB was having season ending surgery. I don't know, Brandon. I didn't hear about that. I didn't hear about that. Maybe he said that in his statement. I saw his statement a little bit, but maybe he did. Sorry, y'all. Tony, what's going on, sir? Tony says, what are your thoughts on quitter Ridley and Jones? Everyone blames Ryan for them not wanting to play here anymore, but any player in any place of the world who quits on their team is not a good look. Thank you for the question, Tony. I'm gonna address this in two different ways. Now, both situations, both players basically did say, I'm not going to play for Atlanta anymore. Jones was in the middle of a contract and said, I'm not going to be here. And Ridley allegedly, so let me hold tight, allegedly seems like he wants out of Atlanta too. Here's my only thing, Tony. You're saying everybody blames Ryan for them not wanting to play here anymore. The Matt Ryan era for the last 5 years has not been a situation that has been successful. It's not 100% Matt Ryan's fault, but as the quarterback of an NFL team, and I try to explain that all the time, whether you like it or not, the success is usually dictated by your quarterback. Yes, there are people that come in and say no offensive line. Yes, they come back and say the defense not doing anything, but usually it's dictated by your quarterback. In this particular situation, Tony, our quarterback accounts for almost 30% of our cap. And when you have somebody that is taking up that much room, maybe the other players are saying, well, hold on. He seems to be getting a pass. He seems to be avoiding all of the, we keep restructuring to keep him here and all of this. I don't know. I'm not in the locker room. But as a fan on the outside looking in, I held Julio responsible a lot because Julio was making quite a bit of money. $20-something million and couldn't catch some touchdowns. I blame him a lot too. Calvin Ridley this year when he was on the field, I mentioned it 4 or 5 times, the Washington game. He is responsible too. Matt Ryan gets the most blame because Matt Ryan makes the most money. When you go to corporations and you see all of the folks, you see all of the shareholders and everything, usually the biggest shareholder is the one who takes the biggest criticism. You go to any organ, go to any of them, go to any team. The person with the biggest paycheck is the person who exemplifies the success or failure of that organization. That is that person, whether we like it or not. I'm sorry. So yeah, I'm not a fan of either of the guys leaving, but I'm also not a fan of keeping with the same situation over and over and over and over and over and over again, thinking that things are going to change if we just get a couple of offensive linemen. Ricky says people that are enabling that foolishness. And you're right. If there comes a need for a wide receiver, a team that is in playoff contention, they will bring him in and put him on the team. Teams want him for his talent so bad they accept the baggage that comes with it. Absolutely. Absolutely. Rusty says supposedly AB and his agent went to the Bucks earlier in this week and asked them to guarantee the incentive money for the last 2 weeks. They said no, that sure paid the part. And if that was true, and if that's true, that's probably what led to it. He was so close to the escalators, where they say 5 catches for 300,000, 50 yards for 300,000, and whatever. And then the rumor was he kept throwing the ball to Gronk, and allegedly AB had a conversation with him saying, "Oh, you going to your boy." These are all rumors. So I would probably feel a certain way too. I wouldn't feel a certain way to throw my stuff up into the crowd, take off my coat, and make a scene. And I'm going to tell you about people who are thirsty. Antonio Brown is a thirsty individual. He was thirsty in Pittsburgh when he threw that video on in the locker room. He was thirsty with the Raiders when he made the last tweets about him leaving. He was thirsty in New England when he made a comment about Robert Kraft. And again, I'm not trying to hold Robert Kraft in the highest esteem, the massage parlor genius. I'm not trying to hold him in high esteem. I'm just saying, but he was the man paying AB's checks. And in this last situation, go back and look at that film. You know what's always interesting to me, y'all? If you're truly in your feelings and you truly are uncontrollable and there's nothing else, I'm so mad and so fed up that I'm not going to take it anymore and all of that. Go back and look at the video if you get a chance. With every piece of equipment he threw, he looked over there at the coach. If you are so uncontrollable, if your emotions were so all over the place, why you keep looking back to see if somebody looking at you? Every time, like a little kid. Like a little kid who wants attention from his parents. Look what I'm doing, mama. Look what I'm doing. Look. Like a little child. And I don't have time for adult kids. And for anybody who wants to defend that, go defend that. That's ridiculous to me. Lisa says, to be fair, he could have been given painkillers that hadn't worn off yet when he left the fields. The x-rays won't lie. If he has a fracture or something, it will be revealed. But you know what, Lisa? I hear you. And that could be true. That's still not an excuse for behavior. I'm sorry. I'm old school to that point that, look, as somebody who has done foolish things in their life before, when you're doing the foolish things, you aren't thinking about it. Later on, when you reflect, yeah, that was stupid. And someday, Antonio Brown is going to go back and reflect and say, yeah, that was dumb. That was dumb. Shot Boogie says, I think Julio Jones has a lot to do with Ridley not wanting to play for us anymore. Oh, I wouldn't doubt it. Alabama homeboys? Oh, that wouldn't shock me at all, man. Not at all. Probably took part of the playbook. And again, in Ridley's situation, it was almost a little different because Ridley's situation, he was going into a contract year. I would have almost had more respect. And again, because I'm not telling you he didn't have emotional issues, but I would almost have more respect if Ridley said at the beginning of the year, you know what? I'm not happy about my contract going forward. I wanted to have a deal. I'm going to sit out a little bit because I'm thinking y'all not going to get this done for me. I almost would have had a little bit more respect for him. But, you know. Rick says if Ridley wants out of the trade, then trade him. I'm sorry. If Ridley wants out, then trade him to Bama, NFL, Philly, where there's a plethora of talent and they have 3 first-round draft picks. We can ship him to Bama North and let him play. I say get rid of all of them. If they don't want to play here, don't make them play here. And I'm telling you, y'all, I think this is going to be a combustible off season, and maybe, just maybe, we'll be able to work it out. Tony says, great explanation, man. I hope Art can figure it out. Tony, and I hope so too, Tony, because at the end of the day, man, yourself, me, all these people talking on here, brother, all we want is the Falcons to win at the end of the day. If we win 12 games and Matt Ryan is our quarterback, then so be it. Whatever the best way for us to win. But we've been all grasping for the last 4 years, and I think all of us are making excuses. I'm not making excuses. We're taking excuses from this organization, not making excuses. We're taking excuses from this organization, and we shouldn't be doing that. This is 4 straight years. Well, sans last year, COVID, and I didn't go to any games. But what, 18, 19, 21. This is 3 straight years, and they still made me pay a PSL last year. This is 3 straight years that I'm going into a season where I'm saying to myself, we worried about the draft more than anything else. That's ridiculous. I want better, man. I want better. Lisa says, so now Total Pro Sports now reporting that AB snuck an OnlyFans model into the team hotel the night before the game. Apparently, she provided text AB sent telling her to come. See, that story is going to go on and on and on because, and I believe some of that stuff, man. AB is a character. AB is a straight character. I hope people realize that. He is a thirsty individual, and he will keep this stuff rolling in social media as long as he can. The angle with the Bruce Arians and stuff, I get it. There's some folks that just think Bruce Arians is a part of the system, and the NFL that doesn't want to treat him right and all this and all that. I'm not buying that. As far as the Falcons is concerned with Calvin Ridley, again, there are a lot of decisions that are going to have to be made. One of the reasons I did want to come on and talk about it is because I know a lot of folks are starting to post and starting to go. I'm going to a couple of posts while I'm sitting up here in Atlanta Bird game, just looking at some of y'all talk about it right now. Trying to get my sharing thing in. There we go. Falcoholic, with the Falcons give Ridley a 5th-year option this year. And Ridley's reply last year, this was a last year post, said, might as well extend, I'm ready. That was last year. So, people are bringing up a lot of stuff that he had previously. So, he's about ready. Jermaine has an interesting point. Jermaine says, if we keep Matt Ryan too much longer, ain't no receivers going to want to come to Atlanta. Oh, man. That's what Sean says, the smear campaign. You know it's coming. It's already started. You know it's coming. You know it's coming. You already know it. This is my favorite. Y'all know this was coming. Matt Ryan is here to stay, sellouts. Y'all know that was coming. All the sellouts that want Matt Ryan to leave. And I'm not saying that. Trust me. I'm just, just amazing. According to Ross, in the world of Ross, says Sierra does want to move back to Atlanta. What y'all think about him as a replacement quarterback? Edit, he does have rings. Also, edit, Ross, he has a huge contract. That's the only thing keeping us from probably keeping him around, keeping him or bringing him here, I should say. That's a I was trying to bring up a couple more posts that y'all doing here. Hold on. God dog it. Here's one from Derek. Derek says Matt Ryan dealt with Julio leaving, Calvin Ridley quitting amid season, and a different coach every other year. Not once has he ever blamed anybody for the Falcons' heartbreak season, and continue fighting every game. You have got to respect him at the end of the day. I don't think anybody has had any less respect for Matt Ryan. I think we all want Matt Ryan to help lead a successful team. But let's not act like Matt Ryan hasn't been well compensated over this long period of time too. Like Matt is Matt holds some blame, folks. Quincy says nobody want to play with Matt. Ridley, not even mad at you, but wow. And this is gonna be all day, folks. I was just interested to come in because I do know a lot of y'all are coming in. This is the tweet. Marcus has it up on his thing. Says funny how I talked about Ridley trade yesterday and now today is everywhere. Put him in a package. Everything Georgia. Calvin Ridley looking for a fresh start and wants to leave Atlanta. He left midseason due to mental health issues. I did see one report from Sports Illustrated. I think I did. Because sometimes when you talk about some of these tweets and some of these things right here, you want to get a little bit of a I don't want to say official, but a little bit of an official explanation when you start talking about that. Ricky says AB is a toxic person who affects every locker room that he's been connected with. This is an accepted behavior from the NFL. No one needs to confront him about the reason. It's the same outcome wherever he plays. He'll miss me with the victim mess. They have him throwing over furniture on a banister on a national. Oh yeah, I forgot about that. On national TV, they have video. I forgot all about that video. They have videos of him doing stupid things. Don't forget and again, don't forget about the little. I don't want to get personal, but he has some domestic stuff going on too. They have video of him doing stupid things. How much more will we be enabling this kind of behavior just because he's a deep threat wide receiver? If AB was a bust, we wouldn't be having this conversation. And that's one of the reasons why I'm very, when people start talking about trying to defend him over Bruce Arians, I'm sorry. I can't do it. I can't do it. And it's not a in love with Bruce Arians thing. But Antonio has worn out his welcome to me on several occasions. Too many times. Way too many times. I cannot do it. I have taken up a lot of y'all time, and I know it's coming close to 6. I'm probably sure and more than sure that my brother Marcus is probably going to come on and follow up his great stuff from yesterday, talking about Ridley. I wanted to get back into the Saints stuff. I might do that tonight. If I don't do it tonight, I'll definitely do it tomorrow. But definitely wanted to talk about some of this stuff because this is our team. Folks, I think we're in for a very volatile offseason as far as roster movement is concerned. I think Calvin stuff just might be a small sample of what we're going to get this offseason. But the seems like the first thing is falling here. Let's hope we get some more news and some more things to verify situations. Until then, like I said before, I know the other admins are probably spoke in, or if you guys have some thoughts that you want to talk about, come on in. I'll have the phone on a little later on tonight, and maybe we can talk about it more in depth. Until then, y'all enjoy your dinner. We'll talk later on. Everything, Bird Gang, Uncle Steve's Lounge. Y'all be good, okay?